to approve the Coastal Resource Overlay District, the section 4.4, and no 175-foot variance and special use permit for the Perillo appeal. And located at 36 Marsh Drive. I'd like to submit I'd like for the findings of fact and the project summary dated March 12, 2026. The findings of fact and everything within the findings of fact, and that they did show the following conditions were provided. That was the staff recommendations. It appeared that they were able to satisfy all of those during the testimony, and they did meet the minimum criteria that is required through the zoning ordinance. And
you want to make it subject to the conditions of the staff report as well, 1
Yes.
through 7?
yes. I'd like to make it subject to the conditions the staff recommended, 1 through 7.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Sorry.
I guess they built it inside. All right, the next matter on for hearing is Martino, Tax Assessors Plat S, Lot 108, 801 Ocean Road.
Mr. Chairman, the applicant's attorney was Mr. McGreen. Oh, there he is.
We already called it, you lost.
Did I win?
All right. Floor is all yours.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. Jack McGreen for the petitioner. You may or may not recall this case. This was actually before you in October 23rd of 2025. Applicant is Denise Martino. At that time, I put on my entire case, and I went back and looked at the YouTube TV just to refresh my recollection of what I said. But just to refresh your recollection, Ms. Martino testified that she was from Johnson. Her family has a summer home across from Scarborough Beach. It's been there since 1947. She wants to sell her home in Johnson and make this her retirement residence. She and her husband would like to have, they would have been here this evening, but actually have some health care issues. If you recall, the whole person putting this house in there was so she could get a wheelchair through the middle. This property is a legal non-conforming lot of record, and her existing home on the structure is not conforming in that the existing left side yard setback is almost on the property line, if you can see from the picture there. My client's proposal is making the left side more conforming and seeking a 1.07 foot relief from the left side and a 5.07 foot of relief from the right side setback, mainly because if you look at the proposed building, she is there another, can you go to the site? Can you bring up the site plan? Basically, she's looking for that relief because she's putting that, her stairways there, it's a 4-foot landing to egress from the right side of the property there. Also, the applicant testified that she desires to maintain a wide center hall and bathrooms to accommodate a wheelchair, which is contributing to the 165 square feet of lot coverage relief request. She also testified that she has another elderly relative that intends to move in with them, and that was the reason for the separate rear entrance. There's a back, there's the rear. There's a rear entrance there with a separate entrance. So because she smokes, if you recall, she was the one that smokes, but it's gonna help take care of her. And so they wanted to have a separate rear entrance in the deck for her to go outside, if she wanted to smoke. My engineer Frank Carrero testified, and he opined in his opinion that the requested relief meets all the development standards set forth in section 4.4 that the previous applicant went over, because they're in an overlay district. As you may recall, the hardscape variance is being driven by an effort to keep the property as far away from the ocean side as possible, to create enough area for 4 parking vehicles with the ability to pull out of the property without needing to jockey the cars to get out onto Ocean Road there. You also may recall we were attempting to avoid the impact of that westerly case, and so Wayne wasn't available, but I made the representation that Wayne thought if we kept up a portion of the foundation, we could do a workaround and not call it a complete demolition. But he was looking for an opinion from my engineer, so Mr. Carrero said, listen, I'm gonna have to excavate, why don't we just try and fix the thing the right way, let's get a text amendment. So that's the direction we went. So my client asked me to go forward, and I actually spearheaded the text amendment with my client. We've been to the planning board a couple of times, back to the town council, back to a subcommittee of the planning board, back to the town council. Finally got through on Monday night, so as of Monday, somebody that owns a legal non-conforming lot of record has the right to come in and demolish your property and seek dimensional relief. So that's what brings me back here tonight. And unless you have any additional questions, that completes my presentation.
Jack, is this entitled to the proportional
Yes.
reductions because it's a non-conforming?
Yes, and I think that, so it's probably less, I didn't do the calculation because I'm already into it, but now that they increase the setbacks back to where they were, I probably need less relief, but honestly, I didn't even do the calculations, but it's gotta be less than what it was before, I would think.
Yeah, those didn't change because there was a modification based upon the lot size versus the zone, so even though the dimensional table changed, 50% was taken off, it didn't affect this because this was under the modification.
It was less than 10,000, right?
Yes,
So you
that's-
go for the percentage of,
Yeah, that's just based upon the ratio between the lot size and the zoning
Right.
requirements, so it's already taken into account, there would have been no additional
Okay.
relief, so
all right.
the relief that's being sought is.
Now, one other, Heidi, a procedural question, because I can't this matter was
We're
before us.
just talking about it now. We're gonna.
Yeah, I was. Jeff, let me hold you for a second.
It's like who was here and who wasn't, and
I wasn't having it.
I don't think it was.
We're just checking to make sure we had a meeting, but I did look at the video last night, just to refresh my recollection.
Yeah.
And I had my expert engineer who, from Cranston testify, and as a
Yes,
report.
you are correct. You
Oh,
are
We
correct.
definitely,
It was
recall
October.
that, we know that for certain, but we're not sure who was sitting.
And now that's what I'm getting to right now.
If you give me 2 seconds, I'll be able to
It
tell you.
was Keith, David, Karen, and John. Ellen and Christine were absent because. And Leslie wasn't on the board yet.
So those are the only,
Yeah,
us four are the only ones that came.
it was Keith, David, Karen, and John at the October meeting.
All right, so we can still do it.
So you have a quorum.
Yeah, no, we do. I just wanted to make sure of that, Jack, because I knew there was a lot of flux of members and who was who and stuff, so. All
So-
I
right.
mean, the biggest lift in this case was to get the text amendment, quite frankly. Took us 5 months to ask for the relief.
And I looked at these minutes 4 times before I said they didn't exist, so, and I apologize.
Heidi, can we just confirm who exactly will be voting on this one?
It is Keith Kyle, David Tronisow, Karen Coutinho, and John Ball.
All right. You have anything else, Jack?
No.
My apologies, I'm sorry.
No problem. Are there any proponents of this application that want to speak? Are there any opponents of this application that want to speak? Hearing none, is there a motion to close the hearing?
I just got one question.
Oh.
The amendment, you went back and forth like 100 times.
Yes,
What exactly is it?
I actually have a copy for you.
I had never
It's
had a reference before.
And does that require 2 readings or 1 reading? And it's had the 2?
Second was on one.
Thank you.
And effective upon passage.
Okay, so this is,
Yep.
this is to allow houses to be demolished.
Yes,
Okay.
And seek-
and be able to
seek
ask for
relief.
dimension relief, even though it's a legal non-conforming lot of record.
Okay.
And part of that text amendment, it specifically relates to matters that were in the pipeline, so it's retroactive as well, so it applies to this project.
That's the last paragraph. We put that in there for people that had applications pending, like myself, wouldn't have to stop from square one.
All right, so is there a motion to close the hearing?
So can I ask you a question?
Yeah,
about
of course.
the thing? So is it the least relief necessary? It just seems, I drove by, I pulled into the lot, it seems like it's gonna be bulging on that lot.
It's pretty much staying, we're actually shifting the house from left to right, we're removing a building back there,
Yep.
and we're making the house, so we're actually pulling it, we're not going any closer to the water. So from dimensionally speaking, we're not going up, it's still a raised ranch, we're not going up 2 floors, we're staying on a single level floor. And we're becoming more conforming on one side, and then less conforming on the other side, because that's where we wanna put the stairway for egress and ingress purposes. Other than that, it's a fairly modest home. It's a single level raised ranch.
Well, just a ranch, right?
Yeah, 1 floor.
Yeah.
And Ms. Brosher, you recall the least relief necessary is no longer a standard with recent changes to the general laws.
Yep.
Any other questions?
What's on the either side of, do you have can you give
You know
us
what,
the
I
aerial
actually have,
again?
I have a picture, I think I presented a copy of this that's already part of it, but that's what the house looks like.
So there's a wooded lot, that would be to the south.
To the south, to the left of the fence, yeah.
And what is that horseshoe?
They're up on the,
Is that a driveway?
To the right. And it kind of looks like.
That's, well,
Go to the top.
This right here,
What is that?
yeah,
that's not their property,
Okay,
that's the other.
this is condos.
okay.
And is this the one where they were gonna check out for the wetlands? Wetlands may be present in the southwest adjacent to the lot? Because when I drove by today, it definitely looked very wet in that area.
No, right.
What Ms. Brochu is referencing is from the CRMC preliminary determination that was submitted with the application. That was just commentary that was noted by CRMC staff. So the town necessarily it won't require relief for the wetlands, but that was just a finding made by CRMC staff. So that will be investigated upon.
Yeah, we need CRMC
Okay.
approval.
Jack, are these gonna be exhibits?
I believe I already submitted that as
Oh,
an
they're
exhibit,
they're up there.
All right.
and it's in my packet.
Don't worry about that.
See. Any other questions?
This is mine, thanks.
Motion to close the hearing.
I'll
Yeah.
move to close the hearing.
Second, is there a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Now, it's the pleasure of the board.
Findings of facts. The applicant is Martino, property location 801 Ocean Road, Plat S, Lot 108. The applicant is looking to create a residence for retirement, single family, able to take on a wheelchair, seeking dimensional relief, and also seeking 4.4 coastal resource, 80-foot variance. Testimony was given by both the attorney as well as the engineer. I don't think there was anybody else in the last meeting, was there? Or
Ms. Martino,
Ms. Martino, right, she had spoke about the need for
the
the
wheelchair, and her sister.
And I'm noting from the staff's recommendation that you're looking for a 1.07 dimension on the left side, 5.07 on the right, 2.08% lot coverage variance, and a 15% hardscape variance. If I know where my notes are. The recommendations of the planning board, as stated on page, the end of the document, page 6, as well as the staff's requirements or recommendations, 1 through 6. 1 through 6 on page 4. Did I miss anything? I'm sure I did.
Or maybe just put in there about the planning board.
The planning board voted to, that it was complete and in conformance rather, and also was voted 5-0 on approval. I think that's all I can see.
David, if I could just suggest, we go through the standards for the special use permit and variance.
I think he's gonna do that when he gives his,
Maybe if I jump the gun, maybe thank you.
yeah, I think usually he'll do that once he would get to the,
All right.
whether he just decides to make a motion to grant or deny. So, does that complete your findings?
That completes the findings of facts.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I guess you guys don't vote. All right.
So next is for the granting of relief. Is that correct?
That's your
Motion for section 4.4, coastal resource overlay district, an 80-foot variance and special use permit. Section 6.4, as I noted, the dimensional variance, 1.07 feet on the left, 5.07 on the right. A lot coverage increase of 2.08%, and a hardscape of 15% is what's being requested. The hardship from which the applicant seeks relief is due to the unique characteristics of the subject land, general characteristics of the surrounding area. I would say most definitely it's a substandard lot. It's definitely very small. It's being accommodated for a wheelchair and a single-family ranch residence. The hardship is not a result of prior action of the applicant. I've always had a problem with this one because if you're doing it, then isn't that the result of a...
Well, I may suggest that one of the facts that a young lady who testified said was there were medical issues she has.
Right.
There's a wheelchair involved, I certainly wouldn't think that's her prior action. It's not as though she created this hardship herself, she's trying to overcome it, asking you for relief.
So based upon Ms. Martino's testimony about the requirements for a wheelchair and the need as well for an additional person that's going to be living there, I find that it's not the result of, hardship is not a result of what they actually did, but unfortunately what life has come around to. The granting request variance will not alter the general character of the surrounding area. In addition, access to light views. It's going to be a single family, so I don't believe it's going to have any kind of an impact on any air or light or view. I thought I read that it's below the 35 feet, or the 30, was 28 feet? Did I read correctly? What was the total height of that?
It's 22 feet.
22 feet, so it's well below the requirement. Public access to water bodies, river streams, there is no denial of that or stoppage of that. Conservation of energy and energy efficiency. I would imagine the new property is going to be more efficient than the existing property, for sure. Generally complies with all the special use permits, section 4, 7, 12, 17, and 18 of the town ordinance. And therefore, I would make a recommendation to grant the relief requested.
The only thing I'm not sure, you may have mentioned it, I know you mentioned it earlier in your motion to enter the findings of fact, but do you want to include the conditions 1 through 6 in the staff
Yes.
report with
Thank
your?
you very much. Include the staff recommendations of 1 through 6 on page 4.
Otherwise, I think you got it.
Is there a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
That motion passes 4-0. All right, the last matter on tonight is 140 Rodman Street LLC, tax assessors, plat H, lot 65.
Mr. Chair, it doesn't appear the applicant is present.
Who is this one?
Charlie Saunders.
How are we looking next month?
Well, he can go to next month, we can continue to next month. It doesn't appear he's here, he was aware, and our office called him, and informed him that he would be on this agenda.
So, is there a motion to continue 140 Rodman Street, tax assessors, flat H, lot 65, to April 23rd?
Motion to continue April 23rd.
Is there a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, let's see here. Get back to the beginning.
No, Christine.
Are there any reports from staff, solicitor, or anybody else?
If no one else has any, I do have one. This is unfortunately our last meeting with the building official in
no
Mental.
way.
He is going to be leaving us unfortunately, but he'll be enjoying the sun.
Disappointed and glad.
Yes,
For you.
he will be dearly missed.
Quite a pleasure, thank you.
Yeah, great. All right, is there a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn?
Is there a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.